Take me back, 'cause it's much too late. Pre-show today is musical stylings by yours truly.
Dude, my hair is so tragic.
Mine too, honey. That's why I got the hood up. You could join the hood gang.
There's no hood on this. Fuck, this looks so stupid. I'm taking it off. I'm so hot right now. Oh my god. I'm literally melting.
Oh, I'm sorry. If anybody is wondering, I'm wearing these sunglasses because I have puffy eyes from crying a lot. So, yeah.
Why is this? I should just put back on my fucking sweatshirt. Why is this even a thing?
I didn't bring my notes.
You what?
I didn't bring my notes.
Should I get my sunglasses too?
Sister.
I won't be able to see anything.
I got my own mind. Even if you could accurately predict the future, that wouldn't help anybody. And then you'd just be like, Raven. You'd be like, that's so Raven. And then I said, and Raven always tries to change the situation, then she ends up misbehaving. And that's what you're doing.
And that's a fact.
And that is the moment. And it is the vibe. Raven has always been and will always be the absolute moment. Her and Miss Lizzie McGuire and Miss Anna Coleman. Hello, Dr. Coleman. Yes, Elizabeth. Yes, Elizabeth. I'll be at the appointment tomorrow. And Elizabeth, remember, you are a smart, strong, beautiful, and independent woman, and you don't need a man to complete you. I just called Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm like, are you taking your clients?
Do you have any openings today? Because I'm this close to
The only people... Bitch, you said it, not me.
Ugh, I can't see anything, so hopefully I'm in the frame.
You are.
I'm completely blind right now.
You're good. You're doing great.
Love that. Okay, so welcome to the pre-show. So the reason that we were like, we need to jump on here and start pre-showing is because we were talking about, so I'm gonna bring this back up. So I've been catching up on the last season of Vanderpump Rules because I love that show, and if you don't watch it, you should, because it's perfect reality television.
Oh my god, yeah.
And so I'm catching up on the last season and watching this, I'm like, holy shit, like all these people have babies now, because I follow Stassi, but I don't follow like any of the rest of the cast. So I was stalking them today as I was watching, because a lot of them have had babies. So I started stalking Lala first. And so she recently had a baby and she named her baby Ocean. And I was like, not the best, not the worst. You know, like it's a little like, but also not that bad.
Right.
And then, wait, did I lock my apartment door? I don't know why, I just thought of that.
No.
Tragic.
We are vulnerable. I got it. You keep talking.
So I was like, Ocean, not the best, not the worst. And then I went to Brittany's page, because Brittany and Jax had a baby, and they named their baby Cruz. I don't personally like that name, but again, it's not the best, not the worst. And then Stassi also has a baby, and her baby's name is Hartford, but I'm like, that's kind of cute.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Hartford's cute.
Like, that's a cute name. It's different, but it's something that it's like, that's not outlandish. And I thought maybe their family name, I don't know. And then I got to Sheena. We already know that Sheena is cringe as fuck. No shade, no tea, girl, but it's just the truth. Like, I get secondhand embarrassment from watching Sheena like no other. I see she has a baby, and I'm like, cute. Her baby's name is Summer Moon Honey. And I was saying to Katie, I'm like, Summer is not bad. Summer is like a cute name. It's not an uncommon name, right, but it's not like super, like it would be cute. But it's the Moon Honey that I have a problem with.
Well, even Summer Moon, I was saying.
Yes.
Because a summer moon is a cool moon.
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's a moment.
It's like a summer moon that like gives me a good feeling.
Yes.
Really, it is the honey that is just
the honey.
An absolute atrocity.
Yeah.
Why was that felt? Like, at that point, you have to know that you're going to be shit on. Yeah. Like, you're going to be made fun of.
So, like,
what was the
Summer Moon Davies would have been a vibe. That's like a cool
That
name.
Is a vibe. I
That's
really
cool
like
name.
that. That sounds like a character name.
Yeah. But it's like Summer Honey Davies.
Summer Moon Honey. Like, what was the choice with the honey? I need a whole season about the thought process that went into that.
Yeah.
Maybe we're complete dicks right now.
We are.
And there's like
a hidden meaning.
To the honey.
We're ignorant to that then if there is. But
I will not apologize for being completely appalled.
No. Without context?
Without context.
If there is context?
Yes. then we apologize, but we're also not apologizing because Sheena, you should be apologizing. Like, where is your apology video? We are all waiting in the wings.
And then the other thing, so she has an Instagram account for Summer Moon Honey, which Katie and I have never talked about that on this podcast before, but we're not fans of you setting up an Instagram account from your kid. It's a little cringy.
That's my butt, you little fucker.
One of Mikhail's cats just slapped my ass with his
Oh.
paw.
Dorian, come here, buddy.
I said it in a nice voice. He doesn't know that I called him a fucker. I said,
You little fucker.
Where's
so
Aria?
he's not gonna know.
Where's Aria?
She was throwing her shit around. Oh, she's right
Hi,
there.
baby. Come here. Let me switch back to these. This is just so impractical, but it's what it is. So the fact that then a baby has an Instagram account, granted, Sheena's is not the worst because they're not really like long captions like a certain bachelor couple who just really go all out with theirs, and then they comment from their personal accounts to their baby's account talking to themselves, which is just weird.
Yeah, and they talk on the point of view of the baby.
Yeah, which Sheena's doesn't really do that. So
There's
I mean, it's
another
not
podcast
that
that goes in depth. They have a whole segment. I'm sure you guys know what it is.
yeah, that
We don't need to comment on that, and we're also not trying to make our own segment out of Sheena's baby's
No.
Instagram.
But the thing that I would say, the thing that I don't like about that too is on the baby's Instagram, in the bio, it says account run by mom and dad and tags Sheena and her, I don't know if there's
Mr.
like
Davies.
Mr. Davies. And it's like, no shit.
Look at this man.
What's he doing?
Look
Oh, is
at
he
him.
biting your foot?
Look at how cute.
Hi, buddy. You're such a playful little bean.
Sorry.
Aren't
I
you?
keep interrupting you.
Where's Miss Aria? Is she around?
I just saw her.
She's kind of hard to see sometimes.
Oh, hi. There's my little pumpkin.
You know, we're gonna leave the glasses on and the sunglasses because that is really the vibe in the moment. That it's like you don't need to preface
Right.
that you're running your baby's Instagram because I don't think that your 4-week-old baby is running your Instagram account. I don't think that they are editing their photos, picking a filter, writing a caption. Like, I'm not that stupid.
Right.
Okay? I may not know a lot of things, but I do know that your baby isn't doing that. So I don't need that. I don't need that.
No.
And I'm not gonna follow your baby. But I'm
I'm not gonna
you
follow
either.
your baby. No. Don't ask me to
So,
follow your baby.
I would-
Also, don't follow me with your baby. I don't want your baby to follow me.
The baby's only following 11 people, and the baby is also verified. Summer Moon.
Okay,
is
that's
already
good
miles
though,
ahead of
because
us.
if they were just following like everybody that the parents liked, that would make me uncomfortable. Because I post some crazy stuff of me like partying, and this is what I wanted to bring up too, is there is going to come a day, right, in the future when we're in like our 30s probably, where all of these fucking kids who are now like teenagers or, you know, 15, 13, 10, whatever, they're gonna inherit these Instagram accounts. And I personally am very excited for that time period.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some of them are going to be like, screw you, mom and dad, I'm going to make my own and I'm deleting all of this stuff, and it's going to be like, you deleted our like memories, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who would want that? Who would want just this thing from like when they were a baby and all these pictures that your mom and dad chose? It's like having your scrapbook just like posted everywhere.
Yeah.
Who the fuck would want that?
Not me.
But there is going to be a time period
Where
where all these kids, and it's going to be like a legal thing because there's a lot of money in a verified Instagram account.
Yeah. I mean, baby Alessi already has like ads.
And sponsors. Yeah.
Where
so like,
I don't think Sheena's baby does. I don't think Summer Moon does.
not yet, but like if you're a verified account, you have people following
Good
you
shit.
eventually. Like they're going to inherit these accounts and do whatever they want with them, I assume.
Yeah. Okay, so then I looked. So the people that Honeymoon is following, or Moon Honey is following. So she follows.
Playhouse Disney.
What?
Playhouse Disney.
No, but I noticed that out of all the Vanderpump cast members, the only one that it follows is Ariana. It doesn't follow any of the rest of them besides Sheena, obviously. Because that's the
Ariana's a
mom.
good influence.
I don't know. I go back and forth with Ariana, but she does follow. I didn't realize that Brittany and Jax's baby also has his own Instagram. However, they don't talk like him. Like
they don't talk from the point of view of the baby.
It says like Cruz's look for a friend's reunion today.
Thank you.
Not like my look for the reunion. So it's like, I know you didn't pick out your outfit and I know you didn't post this, Cruz.
Right.
Because all you can do is lay there. No shade, no tea to the babies.
It's just like taking social media
Too far.
too far. Like this, no one asked for this. Nobody wants this.
Oh, no.
Where's the demand?
Yeah.
For your child, that's horrible.
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay.
I'm going back and she has posted as
In
the
the point of
baby.
view, no.
So it's just like,
You guys are the reason why everybody hates millennials.
yeah.
Cancel yourself. Like, why has Jenna Marbles left the internet when these people should have
Jenna come back?
jumped off of coals?
Honestly.
Atrocity. I mean, I don't think there's any more to be said.
No.
It
That
is
was
what
our
it
that's our
is.
pre-show, ladies and gentlemen.
Stick around for the episode because y'all are probably like, what's going on with these bitches? Like, they're clearly in a mental health crisis.
And you know what? You know who's gonna pick up on that? Our biggest fan, Sharpman.
Michaela, I'm already going through a hard time. No, actually, Sharpman made me chuckle.
I genuinely, that one, Katie, like normally when I read mean things that people say to me on the internet, I feel like physically sick. Not in the slightest.
But
I
he
read that
took
and I
the
giggled.
time to like
It was
make us
creative.
kind of laugh. I think he is low-key a fan. I personally, my story that I've made in my head for Sharpman is that he just knows us so well. And he knows that we kind of think it's cool to have haters.
Yeah. Maybe he's the one who gave us the 1 star.
Right. He just knew that we would laugh at his comment because I think he took a long time to think about what he was going to say.
Yeah.
I
Should we
don't
jump
care.
into the app?
Let's jump into that
Okay.
episode. Buckle up.
Because it's gonna be a long ride.
It's going to be a wild ride.
No one cares, but we're gonna tell you anyways.
This is Popcorn Chats.
Don't.
Don't bite your sister's jugular.
But then, like, when I pull him off, then she'll, like, sometimes jump back at him.
Yeah.
So I know she wants to play,
She's
but sometimes
instigating.
it just like
Right.
it gets to be a little too much for me. It scares me.
Anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the best podcast in the universe, Popcorn Chats. I'm Katie.
And I'm Michae.
Remember last week when we were like, guys, we promise the content's gonna be better next week we're actually gonna have something to talk about. We do have something to talk about.
And I'm
but-
excited to talk about it.
Right. Y'all are getting the Friends content that you deserve, that you want. However, this is still going to be a goddamn disaster, a mess, and...
If you're watching on YouTube, you can probably already tell that the episode's about to be interesting because Katie's currently wearing her head up and sunglasses and drinking a claw. And I'm wearing my glasses and my sunglasses because I wanted to match the vibe.
Yep, she is a supportive... You're an ally.
I am.
This week we're talking about the Friends reunion, and if you have seen, great. If not, I'm sure you'll see like clips of it on Twitter,
Yeah.
and you can probably gather the gist of it. I don't think you need to. I spent $15 to watch it because I had to start an HBO subscription.
Tragic.
I wouldn't say I would do it again, but
I liked it. I don't think it would be something that I'll like revisit, that I'm ever going to be like, oh, I want to go back and watch it. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed my time watching it, and I did cry. Or I didn't cry. I shed a few tears. But I've also just been, get very like emotional. Ooh, what is that?
Mosquito?
I think it's a fruit fly, but I don't have fruit out. Like the only fruit I have is in my fridge, so that's weird. How'd you get in here, sir?
I don't think
You're
they're
not
only
paying
attracted to fruit. Anyways,
Then their name is a lie. And that's offensive. It was a vibe. I liked it.
yeah, it was a vibe.
We're gonna get into that. Should we do a check-in first?
Sure, check in.
Why don't you kick us off?
Okay, well, I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm not okay right now. What I keep telling everybody is that I'm not okay, but I will be okay. And that's just what it is. I mean, I'm back with Michaela here in the good old Madison area, and
Reviving.
we're okay for now. I'm just drinking a little bit, smoking a little bit.
We're gonna go get some ice cream later.
Yes.
I wish
That was really, like, aggressive.
like, thank God.
Yes, like, I need that.
Yeah.
But also, I haven't had, like, my ice cream moment yet,
Mm-mm.
you know?
You need it.
Oh, we're gonna watch Freaky Friday and She's the Man.
A true vibe.
That's my check-in. I don't know. Shit is tumultuous, turbulent, and tragic.
Yeah.
We love an alliteration, and it's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna work itself out eventually. And sorry if you have no idea what I'm talking about and I'm being super vague, but I'm just kind of like going through it right now. And we are always valuing transparency and being forthcoming with our emotions on this pod. But, you know, certain things we can't always share.
Yeah. Or like in due time.
In due time, yeah. We'll get there, but things are just, like I said, a little turbulent, a little spiraling. And yeah, one step at a time, baby.
Yeah.
1 minute at a time.
Honestly.
1 day, 1 hour, 525,600 minutes. We can move on from me because...
Well, I don't
that's
really
all
have
the time
much to
we
say.
have.
I don't really have much to say either, checking in wise. I mean, my life is pretty much the same as it is, except again, now it's officially been 2 weeks since I have my precious Dorian and Arya, and I love them. Dorian's sleeping on the couch right now while Arya takes a bath, and they are just literally my heart, my soul, my life. I would die for them. I would literally do anything for them, including spend $70 every 3 weeks for canned food and litter, because they just... I literally love them so much, and that's what I spend all my time doing, is obsessing over them. I'm also dog sitting for my parents this weekend, so I've been having to leave them at night to go and stay with my parents' dog overnight, and that's really been stressful on me, but it's fine. It's fun having Katie here, because it does get lonely around here, even with Dorian and Arya.
The Friends reunion. Do you think that Matthew Perry has veneers?
Yes, I was wondering that too. I do think so.
That's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
Really, the rest of this episode, like, we can just call it.
I will just say, the women aged spectacularly. I can't
Courtney
say the
Cox
same for the men.
has risen from the ashes
She
of her
really
botched
has.
moment.
She really has.
She has really overcome that journey.
She really looks good now.
She looks great. All of them look great. Yeah, the men have let themselves
as
go.
Sharpman told us, like, who are we to comment on anyone's physical appearance?
And forgot to check in about Sharpman.
Well,
I don't feel comfortable about giving our haters a spotlight.
Yeah, we're not going to, but
it's funny though.
It is kind of funny. We were told by a user on YouTube, Sharpman, that we should just stick to audio. And it's like, you know what, so again, and we've always said this, Katie and I have said this multiple times on other episodes, it's like, who are we to comment on other people? Because it's like, we are just us. So again, like, who are we to comment on their physical appearance? But I'm just saying, the women all look fantastic. And the men, not that they look bad, but I just think, like, the women have really just... They're still looking so good.
And that's the thing, like, women in Hollywood, especially. I was just listening to a podcast that Chelsea Handler was guesting on, and she's like, I am at the point where I don't know what works, and I just am pouring money into all of these things because one of them is sort of working and, like, age-defying or, like... Yeah. Making you look younger, making you look skinnier or whatever, but she has to commit to all of it because she doesn't know which one it is that's like helping. It's horrendous. I think we've talked about this on the podcast many times, but just the way that women have to deal with their worth being diminished as soon as they hit the age of like 35. It's just not it. And when they were doing the table reads with all of them,
stop. That was
I felt
cute.
like Jennifer Aniston was doing her part in the one where they all find out. I was like, you are not saying that the same way that you did in the episode. Because in that she was like, Phoebe, I know. But Ross doesn't know.
I don't think I picked up on that because I was so like caught up in the jellyfish scene. Like,
oh my god, that one
Courtney
was
Cox
hilarious.
Sounded so like it was exactly. The
I
same.
felt like all of them in the table reads sounded exactly the same except for Jennifer Aniston.
That's interesting.
But she did say she hasn't seen any of the episodes. I think.
Yeah.
So that's probably why.
At first I was like, what the hell? But also I don't know if I would either. Like, it's not weird to watch your show, but I get why it would be weird for someone to sit down and watch your own show. Like, in her free time, is she going to be like, oh, I'm going to go turn this on? Like, she lived it. Like, she doesn't need to watch it.
Emma Watson said that she has trouble all the time because Harry Potter is always on TV.
And Friends too is literally always on.
Emma Watson said that she has been like making out with people before and Harry Potter comes on and her like, can you imagine that?
That'd be
just like you as a child is on screen while you're like about to get it on with somebody.
Because I was about to be like, that's kind of a flex. To be like,
no, but if it's like the second one like, with her poofy ass hair and she's just a child. She said that like she was making out with somebody and she just heard like the intro music and she was like, no
fucking way.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
can you imagine that?
You know what I think would also be really awkward is like as an actor and like if you have a sex scene, if your partner ever watches that. Like I know
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence after Red Sparrow, like she warned her, and I think in Mother too. Oh, it was for Mother because she warned her parents, and in American Hustle, I think this was like the first one, and because it was whatever the 70s that like no one wore a bra, so she didn't wear a bra that whole movie, so she had to like warn her parents and her brothers before they went to the premiere and watched the movie. She's like, I don't wear a bra in this whole thing, and in Mother too, she like doesn't wear a bra and that either, and you can like actually kind of see her boobs every once in a while.
I never noticed that.
It's because it's kind of sheer. It's only like in certain lights that you can tell that she's not
Oh,
wearing a bra.
I've
but
only seen that movie one time, so. Well, also
Like, that'd be
with
really-
Mother, that the director was her current boyfriend,
Boyfriend?
and then she had to have a sex scene. That's fucking wild. Courtney Cox and David Arquette, like, with this show, you know, I guess Chandler and Monica aren't, like, having a sex scene necessarily, but
so I wonder with like Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer, where right off the bat they know that they're going to be potentially love interests. So that's how like they know to start playing it on the show, and they like obviously kissed in the first season. So that's kind of like already out of the way before they're like have a really developed friendship. If that's better, or if it's better if you're like Courtney Cox and Matthew Perry when it's like years down the road that then they're like, hey, you're gonna start kissing each other and like you're gonna now be in love. Like what way? I don't know. Like what is
what
less
would you
weird?
prefer? Well, they didn't even know that Ross and Rachel were gonna get together though, because they said even like they debated not having that.
Not doing it. But at
Which-
least they knew that the inkling was like there.
Right, yeah.
From the beginning. There was never any signs about Monica and Chandler.
Yeah. Well, not to keep harping on like Harry Potter, but I know for Emma Watson, she had to kiss both Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint in the last two films, and like that was just a horrible experience for her because that's like her brothers.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
And, you know, obviously she read the 7th book and read that, you know, Ron has a thing where he sees her and Harry kissing and then she kisses Ron at the end. But, like...
It's one thing to read it and it's another thing to do it.
That would be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I'd rather know off the bat. Because I think it's less weird if it starts out that way than like if you end up being really good friends and then it's like, now we have to kiss each other.
Yeah, and if you just know that that's always going to happen, then you can like kind of talk about it and incorporate it into your friendship.
Yeah, you just kind of know.
I agree.
Always better to be prepared. So Katie doesn't have her notes with, so
I'll bounce off.
Yeah. Because I have them obviously kind of in chronological order of the episode. So just the first note that I had was them all showing up to the set again and seeing it. It had me tearing up a bit. Like how cool that must be for them to revisit that all these years later. I can't imagine like the nostalgia that I got just watching it on screen. I can't imagine what they were feeling actually getting to be there and in person and doing that.
It'd be like us going back to Mrs. Boo's classroom right now.
Where it all started. Yeah.
Or like Delaney's basement.
Delaney's basement. That's the real one.
Yeah. Just
so many
like...
memories. Katie and I have talked about this before offline. Why the fuck did they choose James Corden to host this? Neither of us like James Corden. And why? Why him? Like genuinely, why him?
He is chuggy.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't talk about this before, but like now thinking about it, James Corden is a chuggy motherfucker.
Yeah. And like I get that Friends now is like considered chuggy, but like genuinely I love Friends, so like that I don't care about. But James
why
Corden,
is Friends chuggy but this reunion wasn't?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the cast isn't chuggy.
No. I think
it's just like the Friends merch.
I think
and
that's
making
it.
Friends like your personality and your aesthetic.
But like why is that not then the thing with The Office? Like why is The Office not chuggy? Because people who like The Office, it's literally their entire personality.
Right.
So I know way more people where The Office is their whole personality instead of Friends. Like I don't really know anyone where like Friends is their personality, but I can name like 4 people right now where The Office is their only personality.
I don't know what it is. I have a personal issue with James Corden. Well, I was telling you that I think what I don't like about him is that all he does is just state the obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And gets paid millions of dollars for it.
Like if we could beef with one celebrity, I would love to like genuinely beef with James
I would
Corden
love
because
to be
I
in a
just
Twitter
I
feud
don't
with him.
fucking like him.
I would love to be in a Twitter feud with him.
And-
I would just be like, stop singing over actual professional singers. Thank you.
Oh, and it's like, why are
No
you
one wants
in
to hear you.
everything, yet everything you're in is garbage?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, why do people keep putting you in things? Who's his agent?
It's the Chugi motherfuckers.
Who's his agent? Because that agent deserves a fucking raise because they're getting him jobs left and right when he's not good
He
at
doesn't even have to try.
No. As soon as I saw that he was hosting, my immediate reaction was, why is this not Graham Norton instead?
Yeah.
Because I love Graham Norton and I think he could have really elevated this reunion even
Mhm.
more. I think he would have been a much more entertaining host. I think he would have had a much better rapport with the Friends cast, especially because he's already interviewed a lot of them on his show.
Mhm.
And his show is just a vibe. He just has a way of really making his show entertaining and not always stating the obvious.
Yeah, and he goes beyond the surface level and asks questions and evokes stories that people genuinely would be interested in.
Yeah.
I get that, like, the part of this where Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer brought up the fact that they did kind of have a crush on each other.
Yeah.
That was cool and certain things, but I'm just like, all this really was everybody loves Friends. It's like,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
We know that.
Thank you. Like,
We-
we know.
This
And
show
it
was
just
one of the biggest
James
shows,
Corden being
yeah.
like, billions of people have watched this show. It's like, yeah, that's why every fucking store has a Friends mug or a Central Perk mug that you can buy. Like, I know that this is a popular show.
Yeah. Like, I did like that stat sheet because it was just cool. And then the fact that it's been watched over like 100
Yeah.
billion times is absolutely insane. So I liked hearing that. It's
Coming
just
from
him. I just don't like it. Graham Norton would have been my pick for
I
alternate
agree.
host. Who would have been your pick for alternate host?
Okay, this might be weird, but this is just where my brain first goes to. Haley Kiyoko? Is that her name?
Oh.
Because
The girl
I
from
feel
The Big
like
Bang Theory?
yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like the Big Bang Theory is kind of like the new, like the second generation of Friends. I like her.
I don't have anything against her. I do not like that show.
Well, yeah, like it's not my favorite show either, but I think it's one of the shows that was birthed out of Friends,
Friends.
because that is also another show where there's no like star really.
It's very ensemble. I think that's part of it. I don't like a lot of the actors in it. Like Sheldon just gives me.
That's fair. I don't know.
You know what now? Who I can't unsee as like being a bad guy is Bo Burnham. Like he has
Oh.
that comedy special coming out to Netflix, and after seeing him in Promising Young Woman, like it's kind of. I know like
Hard.
nothing against Bo Burnham personally. Like I'm sure he's a great guy, but now like I can't get his character from that detached from him. It's kind of like the guy in the
Wow.
Titanic. How after that
Yeah.
movie came out, like everyone hated him because of his character, even though he's not that dude. That's kind of how I feel with Bo Burnham. That like if I saw him, I'd feel like a little
Yeah.
uncomfy because I'd be like,
Wow.
you're kind of giving me sketchy vibes.
Yeah. Well, that's why like I don't think people want their like significant others or partners to like watch.
Their things.
Didn't
yeah.
the guy in Jamie Dornan, like his wife?
Like didn't watch them.
Yeah.
Especially in
I
something like that
wouldn't.
where it's all like based around a romantic like that it's not even a plot driven franchise, that it is like a romance driven franchise. That's a
Yeah.
no
I think it all depends on the person. I don't know. For me, I feel like that would be kind of odd.
to watch. Yeah. Actually though, especially I
Because
get
then it's like you get to go home with the person.
well, and would you not? Like, can you imagine like him working? I feel like he would come home like worked up every single day
Yeah,
and being
'cause
like
he just
ready
has
to
to,
go.
like-
And also I would be like, do you want to like bring anything home from the set? Like he would
Yeah,
probably come home with a lot of new
babies.
ideas.
Yeah.
How he learned how to like really professionally tie those knots and stuff. I'd be like,
here's a rope. Do with it what you will.
okay. Like, what are you gonna do for
No,
me?
but I just think that is like kind of cool. If I were in her shoes. If I were her, I would like say, take me on a date to the theater. Like, I want to go. I want to see. And then you get to go home with the star of the movie. Like,
yeah.
is that not?
And would
every
that not
woman's
actually
dream?
kind of like work you up a bit too, of being like
Right.
like a little jealous, a little possessive, seeing your man like on screen
Yeah.
doing that with someone else? Because also like that's kind of hot.
And
but
then
then
you
also-
know it's all fake too.
Yeah.
That's all fabricated. But I get the real
Yeah.
thing. But also
Like
the
the sh-
fantasy part of it.
Yeah, like the shot gets cut off right before he brings his dick
Yeah,
out. You get to
You
see
get
that.
to see it. You get behind the scenes access. Where is this
I mean-
episode going?
How did we get here? Anyways, so Kaylee Cuoco would be your choice for
I guess.
the interesting. Okay. As you kind of said, just a note, I love the ensemble aspect of the show, and I think that that's really strong and something that you don't necessarily see as much now. Because even when you think of like Game of Thrones, Grey's Anatomy, like these shows that have really large casts, there's still always characters in that are more main characters. I mean, obviously in Grey's Anatomy, it's like Meredith Grey has always been the main character, but even in like Game of Thrones, where it could be argued that it's more ensemble, it's still like Dany, Jon Snow. Even though Arya and Sansa are both like main characters, I feel like still they sometimes get overshadowed by like Tyrion. Where you don't really get ensembles, the closest show that I can think of that I would consider like a true ensemble is Pretty Little Liars. And I know that sounds dumb, but really like those four in ensemble.
Yeah, Schitt's Creek too, but also like I know that Dan Levy and Annie, whatever her last name is, were considered supporting characters. So I think the parents are considered the main characters.
Because even Big Little Lies, when that's like an ensemble cast, you still think like, especially in the second season, they did Jane so dirty.
Yep.
Not giving her the attention she deserved.
But no, I agree. And I think that's what makes Friends so special, is that you were invested in everybody's story and they somehow made each of their stories rich and worth following. I liked how they kept saying this is a show about the time in your life when your friends are your family. I've been watching Friends since I was a teenager, but living that, where you live with people in college and then like this tumultuous time in your 20s, it's like you rely on people who are like going through the same thing that you are. And when the show ended, they all kind of had their own families, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I agreed with Lisa Kudrow when she said, I wouldn't want them to unravel all of their happy endings.
Exactly. I'm glad that it was like this, actually, not like a story. Why do you keep turning off? You never do that. I'm offended. Like, are we boring you? And I totally agree. Because what are you going to do except if you're going to make someone like have something tragic happen? Like, I don't want them to have been divorced. I don't want something to have happened to their kids.
Right.
But also, like, what's fun if they're all just living a good life? Like, that's not
the
exciting
thing with
television.
all these reboots. It's like, well, then there's like an issue and we have to unravel our happy ending. Like the way Lisa Kudrow put it was very spot on.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't really fuck with all these reboots.
Nope.
Like, to find out that Lorelai and Luke were not married yet in the reboot of Gilmore Girls, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's upsetting.
I don't think there's been one good reboot. Like, I genuinely can't think of one.
No. And I know that we both thought that this reunion was going to be, like, an actual episode, but I'm glad that it wasn't. I'm glad it was just this.
And to Reese Witherspoon, when she was interviewed in this, she said that she's like, all of the characters stand on their own.
Yep.
Like, genuinely, each of them do. And genuinely, she's right. Every single character, even though I could easily rank the friends, and we're gonna do that, still genuinely, even the friend that I would put on the bottom, I still like, and I still enjoy. And I was never like, why are we following this character?
Right.
Like, all of them are very distinct and unique and bring something to the show that if one, like, I can't imagine taking even one out of the equation.
It also, just hearing it all broken down from like the creators of the show and then the actors of the show, you really do appreciate all the components that just kind of fell together and made the show work. Like, there are so many shows that just never take off and never even get off the ground, and that's why in the industry so many times, like, I know somebody told Ellen Pompeo that Grey's Anatomy was never gonna go anywhere. Jennifer Aniston said in this reunion that her people from the show that she left to be on Friends were like, that show isn't going to make you a star. I mean, that is not an unreasonable thing to say. Like, we can look back and laugh at those people now and be like, oh, I bet you're kicking yourself. But like, genuinely, there are so many shows that are good shows. They could have been good shows, but they just don't take off the ground because not all the components were working.
Yeah.
And like with this show, it was perfectly cast. Matthew Perry in particular just brought so much to Chandler. Like, he really invented that character on his own.
His character was the easiest to be a flop.
Right.
Out of them all, his would have flopped the most if it was casted poorly.
Him out of all of the others, he, like, invented that character and had the most input into what that character eventually became. Because with Monica, you know, Courtney Cox was like, I'm more of a Monica, I'm very like uptight, and David Schwimmer was the first person they cast, and they just felt like his droopiness and his kind of like puppy dog face was fit for the role.
Yeah.
Lisa Kudrow was kind of playing a similar character on a different show. They just tweaked her a little bit.
I never realized that her twin Ursula in Friends was like a character on
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I saw a TikTok about it shortly before this.
Because I was
reunion came
mind
out.
blown when that happened. I just thought Ursula was like a funny thing to throw on the show. I had no clue that it was a character on another show.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel like I'm just rambling on, but I think this is just a case where the writing was good, the basis of the show, the time in your life where your friends are your family, and the casting, it all just kind of fell together.
Yeah.
And created a hit, and that doesn't always happen, but this reunion was kind of a moment for us all to appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like appreciate when things like that happen, because my very limited experience in the film industry, it really does depend on how everything falls together and the right people, the right time, because there are good stories that just never become anything because it just doesn't work out, nothing falls into place. But the moments where that does happen, it's magical. It's like literally witnessing a miracle.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Friends is for sure. And I like that this reunion kind of centered around that idea, I would say.
I could see like 10 years from now, Game of Thrones doing a reunion like this, similar, being like, this show was. Say what you want about the last season. I know a lot of people hate it. Like I've said before, I did not hate it. I'm satisfied with the ending. That I could see in 10 years I'm doing a reunion and feeling the same way watching this, where it's like that show was just truly like a moment in television history.
Yeah, like a cultural, it influenced culture.
It really
moving
did.
Forward.
Yeah. I liked that they talked about the casting process too, because I just find the casting process really fascinating, and I love that on like behind the scenes or bonus features for movies when they talk about the casting. The Matts sitting in their recliners was really cute. I also really liked the trivia aspect of the show. I thought that was cool that they revisited that.
I love that episode when they just ride in on the dog, like.
Yes. Wait, we were gonna rank the Friends while we were there. Okay, so they're from least favorite to favorite. Say favorite for last.
Least favorite to favorite. You go first.
Okay, least favorite. So at number 6, I have Ross. I've just never really been a Ross fan. I think he's fine. I like him. Like I said, I don't dislike any of these characters, but just Ross doesn't really do it for me. Controversial, but I'm gonna put Rachel. Again, like out of all of the characters, like Rachel, again, I like her, but she just doesn't do it for me. And then I have Monica. I don't know if it's like a brunette thing that I just have always been drawn to Monica, and she used to be higher up for me. I think just rewatching and everything. Monica's at number 4, but she definitely could be higher. Then I have Joey. Actually, Joey and Monica could kind of be flipped. It depends on the day for me. And then at number 2, I have Miss Phoebe. She's an icon. She's the moment. And she is a legend.
Yes.
And then at number 1, we have Chandler. Chandler and Phoebe just really, I feel like, if we're putting it, it's like Chandler and Phoebe, Monica and Joey, Ross and Rachel.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like those two, because really, it's more like 1, 2, 3. And it's like the 2 there, the 2 there, the 2 there.
Yeah. I really agree with a lot of that. Ross is definitely at the bottom for me. I think he's a whiner. He's annoying. And if I ever had to, like, be in a romantic entanglement with that man, I would probably end it all, jump off coals. And then I think, honestly, Joey might be my number 5 because just the misogyny stuff, and he's a little problematic, but he's lovable at the end of the day. I can't help it when he has a turkey on his head and he's like, it's Joey. Like, what a freaking cutie. I, like Michaela said, love them all, you know. Rachel would probably be my number 4, Monica my number 3, and Phoebe and Chandler are tied for first. Like, it's very similar to what you said. Yeah. I think Phoebe and Chandler are my favorite people to watch. And the ones that make me laugh the most. But also Monica, like, that's not even a word!
I love Monica. And I love Monica and Chandler. Yep. Like, they are my favorite couple, hands down, on that show. Oh, yeah. And, I don't know. There's just something about Monica. And I think maybe because out of all of them, I'm the most like Monica. Like, out of the women, I'm the most like Monica. Out of the men, I'm most like Chandler. Which I think a lot of people say that, but genuinely.
When he goes in there, when they're in the one where everybody finds out, and like him and, or wait, that might be the next episode, but like when him and Phoebe are like, when Phoebe's trying to like trick him, and it's like, and they don't know that we know that they know. Yes. They're in the bathroom and Chandler's like, did you clean up in here? I love that.
I just I genuinely love the show. So yeah, I liked the formatting of the show, the jumping around, that we had the trivia, we had the interviews with the producers, we had the cast doing the table reads, we had the guest stars, we had the random cameos. We had the parts with James Corden. I liked the balance of the show. I felt like nothing lingered too long, and the segment jumps I thought made it interesting. James Corden was my least favorite part too.
The fashion show,
The
he
fashion
ruined.
show was so. I feel like that was just really unnecessary. Like that, if
It
I could
was
cut
such
one part,
a
it would have been
James Corden thing
thing.
of like, let's get all these mega celebrities to come and dress up in these things and just waste everybody's time.
Yeah, I would have rather had more of like Janice sitting down and talking, and more time with the Gellers, the parents.
Oh my god, I feel like
They
they
were
didn't really
so
get their
cute.
moment. But it's like
No.
all of James Corden shit is just like, haha, let's see how ridiculous this is. I feel like everything he does is just like, haha at first, and then it goes on
It's
and
an
on
eye roll.
and on. His fucking crosswalk Broadway shows, it's like, yeah, that's funny at first, but if it were me in that traffic, I would be like, get the fuck out of my way, James Corden. I will ram your ass into the ground.
I have good insurance. Let's get into some of the cameos, because and I'm not even going to get into the show ones. We'll get into that in a second. But David Beckham.
What was the choice?
David Beckham. Kit Harington. I love Jon Snow. I know Katie doesn't. We've talked about that before. But it's like, I didn't need Jon Snow. Malala. A flex that they got her, but like random. Katie and I talked about this before the pod. We didn't really need the celebrity endorsements to know that like this show was the moment.
To start the reunion being like 100 billion people, or it was something even crazier, maybe like 400 billion people.
was
It was
insane.
an astronomical number. The show has been watched hundreds of billions of times. And then to have these celebrities be like, my favorite episode of Friends, it's like, did I ask?
No. Like, I would have rather, if we were going to get into that, and I get that they wanted to set up segments and they could like talk about that show or talk about that moment. They should have done that with the cast. Of been like, Matthew, one of the Matts, what was your favorite episode? What was your favorite moment? I would have rather heard from them than like David Beckham saying that he watches it when he travels. It's like, I don't need to know your Netflix history. The extra people that I did like that showed up were the random people from the cast. Mr. Heckles, Richard, Gunther making his little cameo, the Gellers in the audience.
That was cute.
They were really cute, and how they were like, we saw you as our children. I'm like,
we worried about them, and the fact that they're
so
a real
cute.
couple. Like, get the fuck out.
Are they a real couple?
I thought.
That's our canon.
Okay.
So I really like those. And also Richard. The older I get, or not the older I get, I would say in like the past 3 years, whenever I've been watching Friends, I'm like, I get Richard. I get Richard. When I was a teenager watching the show, I was just like, can we get to Chandler at this point? Because like I knew the Monica and Chandler got together. Now I'm like,
she was
Richard.
conflicted.
Yeah.
Monica was in a real
Like,
predicament.
The other endorsement that I didn't really need was the around the world endorsement of all the random people talking about Friends. I get it, and if they would have just been like a one line from a couple of random countries, like that would have been kind of cool. But I didn't need what was probably like dedicated 5 minutes to that. I didn't need it. Again,
Friends is not the show to watch if you're gay. I'm so sorry, but it's like transphobic, like homophobic with Ross's whole situation with his wife. Like,
what is it transphobic?
Chandler's dad.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, there's a lot of shit now, and especially too it being like an all-white heterosexual cast. Like if this was made now, Phoebe's definitely bi.
Oh, come on.
Or just full-on lesbian.
Come
Chandler's
on.
definitely bi. Ross is bi-curious. Like, like there are things now that if this show was made, there would be no way that it would be cast. I would hope not. I can say no way, but also like, questionable.
Okay, so actually, I'm sorry, you finished.
Oh, I was just gonna say that it's like if you were casting now, I don't think you would get away with a show that has 6 white heterosexual characters.
Yeah, in a place like New York. Come
Yeah.
on.
So there was one major cameo missing, and that was Mike, Paul Rudd. Which I thought was interesting, which then I saw an article being like, why wasn't Paul Rudd there? And it was just with like COVID and time and travel restrictions, and I don't buy it. Give him a little cameo on a screen like Gunther.
Right.
And if you didn't have time, you could have cut out like Mr. Heckles. Or cut out like
the hand.
Like you could have cut out other things for even a minute of a Mike cameo. So I feel like, is there beef?
I don't know if there's beef, but he is a very famous person, like outside of, but I guess Reese Witherspoon is too, and she made time for it, but she also has connections to HBO, whereas
That's true.
Paul Rudd, maybe they weren't going to pay him enough. Who knows? I guess I wasn't shocked because, again, like, he is one of the more famous people to come out of Friends besides, like, the central cast. But, I mean, he has a better career than Matt LeBlanc, I would say.
Yeah.
So, like, I wasn't necessarily shocked that he didn't come back, but I was also like, oh.
I have heard that Paul Rudd's, like, secretly a huge dick.
Really?
So I'm like, I want the tell-all, because one of the podcasts that I used to listen to a lot, and it's the only, I still like that podcast, I just don't listen to it because I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts, not being in an office anymore. It's like the celeb podcast. I'm not gonna like out it because I'm not gonna out the host on it, but she did say in one episode like years ago that she's just like waiting for Paul Rudd to get called out, because she's like, I literally have a folder on my computer of stuff from over the years, and I'm like,
oh no.
So I just want to hear it, but of course she's like, I'm not gonna start this, but like if someone comes out with something, I'm ready.
Wow.
And I'm kind of like, ooh,
that's
tea.
intense.
I really have no opinion on Paul Rudd. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I just found it interesting to note, and that he was missing. And I just don't buy that they had to cut, like, that it was time cut, because they wasted a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
The fashion show. Cut the fashion show.
Yeah, cut the damn fashion show.
Okay, I don't really have any other notes except for some kill fuck marries, because we always get down into them.
I had that too.
Did you really?
I did.
We had a kill fuck marry today with Vanderpump Rules, which, fun times. Okay, let's start out with the men of the show. We got Joey, Ross, and Chandler.
Kill Ross. Fuck Joey, marry Chandler. That's the intention too behind the show.
I think so. Totally. Now we have the women. Monica, Phoebe, Rachel.
Oh, I don't know. Can you go first for this one?
Yes. I'm killing Rachel, marrying Monica, fucking Phoebe. Because you just know Phoebe's got to be a fun time.
I don't think Monica and I would do well together.
I think her and I would work really well, because I don't know, I think people in my life think that I'm a much more, like, dominating person than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I don't know, maybe it's because how I was when I was younger, and as I've grown up into an adult, I've just turned into, like, a sack of shit. But I think, like, Monica, she's very, like, get stuff done on top of things, and I kind of need that. I need someone to, like, kick me a little bit along, otherwise, like, sometimes shit just won't happen. So I need a Monica.
If we both want things to be neat, then we're never gonna fight over it.
Yeah.
And if we both want to, like, plan things out and, like, think kind of the same way, then that's gonna be beneficial, but also in certain instances, maybe not.
I don't think I would work well with Rachel with, like, our personalities, but I could see you and Rachel, like, working.
I don't want to kill any of them. Can I just
I don't
have
want to
one
kill
of them
Rachel
be my
either.
friend?
I mean, go for it. Then
Dude,
Rachel
I
be-
can't choose. This is too hard. Why do I want to say I want to kill Phoebe? I don't know why, but, like, I love Phoebe. She's one of my favorite characters, but if I had to choose, like, I'd probably kill her.
Wow.
I know, isn't
Ruthless.
that sad? And then I don't know if I honestly feel like it would be a really dramatic episode of me trying to choose. It's kind of like a Lucas Payton and Brooke situation for me with Rachel and Monica. And that's my truth.
We can leave it at that.
Don't yell at me.
I'm not going to. We're leaving it at that. And then I have one more for some of the side bitches.
Okay.
And that is going to be Gunther, Richard, and Mike.
Marry Mike. Fuck Richard. Kill Gunther.
I'm marrying Richard. No questions if you know me, people. Actually, none of you know me, but Katie does, and there's no question I'm marrying Richard. I'm fucking Mike, and I'm killing Gunther. Part of me at first, when I thought about this, I was like, would I actually kind of like what we said in the Lizzie McGuire episode with the bellhop? It might be kind of an interesting situation with Gunther that I'm like almost curious enough to not kill Gunther and to kill Mike instead, because I feel like Mike would kind of just be like predictable. It's something about the bleached hair.
When he had his little cameo moment on Zoom, if I saw that man on the street, I would not know that he was
It was Gunther, no.
I guess because of the bleached hair.
The bleached hair.
I mean, all his facial hair and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, everybody else, I can tell who they are, even though it's been like 17 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, he's the only one where I just would not know a thing.
No.
Sorry to this man.
Sorry to this man.
What Kit Harington said about how, like, the dialogue in itself is not overly funny, but it's, like, the physical comedy and the delivery from the actors. something interesting too is like the live studio audience and that immediate with social media. I think kind of the first show that got to experience that side of things where it was like the audience reaction live time was Pretty Little Liars with Twitter and people tweeting about it. And then now that's kind of the standard for shows, tweeting about things. Live reaction, like that's a big thing for Grey's Anatomy, even like The Voice or anything like that. But back in the day when Friends was going on, the live studio audience was the closest you could get to that live reaction, and it's kind of like a test audience. And they would write, you know,
and change
things as they went, and like that is just so interesting to me. This style of sitcom and these like 3-camera shows where it's just like kind of us looking into a stage, it's kind of dying out a little bit, you know? Like Schitt's Creek is kind of the big comedy right now, and that's a 1-camera show, very dynamic set. It's not like you guys know what I mean, where it's like a stage.
Like I'm thinking like Everybody Loves Raymond too is shot like that.
Yeah, The Big Bang Theory is shot like that. It must have been such an interesting like writing process and just like from a creator perspective. And even the cast talked about it too, how they would sweat and get so nervous when people didn't laugh. And that was like a performance in itself.
That would really freak me out.
Like the bloopers, Matthew Perry ran in because he was like, somebody else was getting a laugh and I couldn't handle it. It's like you're performing for the audience, but then also millions of people, like billions of people.
I really liked the reunion. I love Friends, and I felt like this was satisfying. And Jennifer Aniston too was like, we're not gonna do this again. Yeah. Like this is it. It's kind of like, ooh. Yeah. But she's right. I mean, like you don't need to always like jump back. Like I think some people overdo it, and you need the space, you need the time to like build up that tension. And I felt like this was deserved to have this reunion and to revisit. But I like that then it's kind of closed and done. Yeah. And how they're like, we're not going to do something. So like, stop asking us. Like, this is it.
Yeah. Like what Lisa Kudrow said about their stories are done. Like, let's just leave it at that, because why would you want to unravel all of that? Yeah. And also, you know, I think as a fan, it's nice to know that like, yeah, we keep in touch. We love each other and we have this strong bond. Being such a huge Harry Potter fan, I was always like, I wonder if they still talk and like get together. Yeah. And
I saw pictures over the weekend that Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller are in Hawaii together with
I saw that
and Kelly, and I was like, oh my god, I was screaming, because if you know me, you know how much I love The Spectacular Now and how much I love Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller. Yes. And I love their friendship, and to see them together with their significant others in Hawaii vibing, I screamed.
I saw that too, and I was like,
that made me so happy.
Yes.
Like, I want them to all, like, love each other and be together, and it's just fun. It's one of our friends' birthdays today when we're recording this, and when I was talking to her this morning for her birthday, I was like, when I watched the Friends reunion, they're talking about, like, how they have this bond that, like, no one else has with each other. I was going back and forth with her, because I'm like, can you believe that this is, like, the 19th birthday that we've, like, not because we didn't celebrate together today, she's working. I'm like, this is the 19th birthday, and I'm just, like, talking with her, because even though Katie and I have been friends since we were in 3rd grade, like this other friend and I have been friends since we were in kindergarten, you even longer with her than that, and I'm just like, there's no one that like has that vibe. I mean, Katie and I have a bond like very similar to that, and like our bond is different because like now we have this and we like creatively link up, but I'm just like, there's no other person that like has really grown up with me like that besides Katie, and like has that bond. And even though like life is really busy and like we probably only see each other like once a month, and we have very opposite schedules, so we like text when we can, but it's like she's sleeping while I'm working, and when I'm sleeping she's working. But I'm like, I just always know how they were like, I always know that if I need you I can call you, and when we see each other it's like you're not talking to anyone else, you're like zoned in on that person. And it's just very similar.
Like, because cute. You've gone through the same experience. Like, you know, certain people it's like their college friends or their high school friends, and it's like, you know, and maybe like your sibling you have like this unspoken thing with, because those people have gone through things that like the exact same experience almost that you have, like, or as close as you're gonna get to something like that. So it's just that unspoken bond, and like, yeah, you drop everything. I related to that too.
It was cute.
It was very sweet. When Matthew Perry started to tear up, I was like,
stop it. Stop it.
We love an emotional babe.
We do. That's really attractive to me when a man cries.
He's like, damn, now I'm gonna cry. I'm like, you let it out.
Yeah.
Let it out. when he was like, I don't hear from anybody. I was like, just tell us your real emotions, you insecure little fuck. He's that type of person that like uses comedy to like hide everything, but
Yeah.
he is like struggling the most. Because I thought he was going to talk about his drug problem. Didn't, but that's okay. Maybe a separate thing.
Dark humor, we love it.
Totally. Tune in next week. We don't know what's going to happen, but we'll figure it out.
Well, vibe, as always.
Bye,
Bye, laughs.